Hi, I'm Justin Younts, and welcome to the Pulp Report. I'm your host, and I'm here with the Dagger Mik Drake. How are you doing, Nick?
Justin, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to have a conversation here with you.
Yeah, no, this is going to be great. So, first question I have is, where are you from?
Right now, I live in a tiny little apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to joke and say, I'm a big, muscular guy. But even if I wasn't, sometimes you got to turn sideways to get to the kitchen in this place. But
Yeah.
it's a great place. I love living in New York. I grew up in New Jersey, so not too far from
Hmm.
from where I'm originally from.
So, who trained you?
So I broke in about this August will be 12 years
Oh, wow.
into what was years ago it was called the Monster Factory.
That's what I thought
Uh,
you came from. There's
yeah,
somehow
so
I.
so years ago, the place that I broke into was called the Monster Factory. Now that's not the same place that's called the Monster Factory now. I think there were some ownership issues and naming issues that were sold, and so that's a different place. And the place that I was broken into was called the Monster Factory, and that's now called Old Time Wrestling. That's in southern New Jersey, and the trainers there were Jim Molyneux,
Mm,
who wrestling fans will know as a former ECW referee. And Ed Atlas was the other trainer there. He's a wrestler under the name Ed the Razor. He's a little bit of a nut job, but
yeah.
anybody who's good at wrestling is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so that's how you got started.
That's how I got started. I was 18, and I decided I had just graduated high school. I was a freshman at Rutgers,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, I remember thinking at the time, like, oh man, if I had been more serious about playing basketball, because I was a big basketball player in high school, I could have maybe played
Yeah,
D3 or D2 school.
yeah,
And I started thinking, man, I wish I had done more work. And I was like, oh man, this is awful, having the shoulda, woulda, coulda feeling.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, if I want to be a wrestler, if that's what I always wanted to do, like I'm gonna do it,
yeah,
but I'm going to do it 100%. There's no halfway. It's either we're all in or we're all out.
yeah.
And so I found the building online. This was pre-Twitter, pre-Facebook internet. I don't know if your listeners even can comprehend what the internet was like
Yeah,
pre-Facebook.
it's hard to
Um,
imagine.
it's hard to imagine the the old dial-up AOL stuff.
Yes.
And I found the place, and I went to it, and I walked in, and I had no idea what I was getting into. And it was a little warehouse, and this guy's sitting there, and he goes, "So, pal, you want to be a wrestler, huh?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Oh my god, what have I gotten myself into?"
Yeah.
And they actually made me do a tryout to see if you're athletic enough to do
Did
this.
they stretch you
Uh,
to like
you know
no
what?
ends?
No one. I was very lucky. No one stretched me. They made me, run the ropes a little bit, jump up in the air, fall
Till
down
you
on my
throw up?
back, do a front flip, and that was it. No, no, it was actually very honestly
Oh, wow.
in a industry that's famous for like, hey, we need to break people in. It was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very professional, very like, hey, let's just see what this is all about. So I went for that, and they said, "Yeah, all right, we can make a wrestler out of you." And I said, "All right, let me think about it." So I spent the summer thinking about it, and then I went back, and then they started beating the crap out of me
Oh,
after I
wow.
signed up. That's
Yeah.
when the fun stuff started.
Yeah, the old Puerto Rico thing, we'll sign them
Yeah,
in, we'll screw them
exactly.
over.
But for the first couple of months, it was. I don't think I even got in the ring. I think I was just doing concessions and cleaning the bathrooms and
Wow.
the real
Yeah,
old
yeah.
school way to like get in. They
That's
want to
the
see
old
if
school.
the old school way to get in, man.
Yeah,
And I'm grateful that's how it worked out
yeah.
for
No, no,
me.
that's great. Um, your degree is in law, right? You have a degree in something in law. I read.
Yeah, so I did a bachelor's degree at Rutgers,
Hmm.
and then I got a Juris Doctorate, a JD from Rutgers Law School. So I'm actually an attorney also.
Yeah, that's what I read. It's like you're an attorney as well as a wrestler.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, totally. So if somebody upsets me too badly
You
in
just
the ring,
so
instead of beating them up, I just file a suit and
yeah.
send them an funny story. There was actually a guy who was supposed to make some wrestling gear for me years ago, and these guys, they say, "Oh, send me your measurements and
Yeah.
send me pictures, designs, and then you gotta PayPal me the money or Venmo me the money." Okay, all right, no problem. So you do all that stuff, and then 10 weeks go by, 12 weeks go by, and you're going like, "Where is this stuff? Like, what did I did I just get robbed?"
Yeah.
And I kept sending this guy emails, and he never responded. I kept sending emails, never responded. I finally sent him one half-page typed-out letter. I put my lawyer hat on, and I was like, listen, if you don't send me this stuff or send me a refund, I am going to file a claim in small claims court in Missouri or wherever he was, and I will personally make it my life just to make your life a living hell. Just because you didn't do business the right way. And wouldn't you know it, 3 days later, the gear arrived in the mail.
There you go. Oh, it's just sitting there. Yeah, there you go. Wow. That's amazing. Wow. Because they would just hung on to it. Where did the name come from? The Mik Drake.
So Mik is my actual first name.
Yeah.
And we're looking for something that kind of runs off the tongue, right? And could still be unique. And in wrestling, everything has been done, right? Every name has been used, every move has been done. It's pretty tough to find something unique. And even now, I think there are some variation of guys using Drake as like the first name or a middle name or a moniker of some kind, right? That's just the way it is. So it kind of rolled off the tongue, and then we started thinking about the dagger and what is the dagger? And the dagger is a guy who, is very focused, almost sociopathically in a way. When you think about a Kobe Bryant or a Tom Brady and how these guys, they have one singular focus and are able to, when they need to, just shut out everything else and get in the zone, and this kind of calm comes over them. And it kind of is scary or a little, can be a little unnerving to other people. And that's kind of the mindset I try to bring when I come into the ring, just in everything, not just the moves you do, the way you move.
Yeah. Or we could just call you MD.
Yeah. Were you trying to send me to medical school too now?
Okay, you'll be a medical guy.
I got enough student loans, man. I don't need any more.
We'll tell you that. So yeah, wow. Well, that's one of the things I noticed from watching your matches is just how you're a real old school heel. Like when you were face, you were doing a lot of I saw you doing a lot of top rope stuff. When you're a heel, you cut a lot of that out. You reminded me a lot of like Bobby Roode or even Triple H, believe it or not.
I'm a big and I'll just tell you some of the guys that I look to as influences in the industry. I love and this is in no particular order, right? Like none whatsoever. And if we're talking about not on the current product, I'll just because those are separate. And there are some guys on the current product too that I think are fantastic and supremely talented. But I am a big $1 Million Man guy, Ted DiBiase. I'm a big Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig guy. I'm a big Scott Hall guy. These guys, just everything they did was crisp and smooth and athletic, and there's no wasted movement when they're in the ring, and that's what I try to study and try to implement in a lot of ways. Like today, super amazing at it is Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar are just incredible with that. There's no wasted motion from either of those guys. They're just supremely talented in every way. And so those are some of the influences, and there's little things you take from, a Bret Hart or a Randy Savage or, a Ricky Steamboat or Rick Rude.
The run into the turnbuckle thing, the Bret Hart.
I
saw that.
You try.
That was great.
Yeah. Hey, listen, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right?
You did it well.
And,
and that's
thank you.
That's a hard move.
Thank you. and you just try to take something that's somebody who's already made great and say, okay, if I can put a tiny little spin on it, maybe I can make it my own and be successful doing that. And that's, and that's anything. That's not just wrestling. That's, basketball is the same way. Yeah. Kobe Bryant took everything Michael Jordan did, copied it, and put his own little spin on it. Exactly. And was pretty successful. So
yeah, you can't say that. Yeah. What was I going to say? So where do you want to go to, like, next? Do you see yourself staying in OTW? Do you want to go to NXT or like New Japan?
I think anyone who is serious about being successful in this entertainment industry would be lying if they didn't say, hey, I want to be in the WWE. And I'm a little bit of a nutcase, obsessively. If somebody says, like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to main event WrestleMania. And they're like, oh, well, don't you want to just be on the card? I'm like, no. I want to main event WrestleMania, period. Yeah. Like, over and over and over. Exactly. And that's it.
That's what you got to do, yeah.
People are going to think you're nuts or you're arrogant, but you know what? In any endeavor, if you don't believe, you can't believe that you can do it. You can't think you can do it. You got to know that you can do it. Absolutely. So that's a long-term project for me, but I like to look at things also in micro terms. So I will actually be at OTW on May, I believe I'm looking at my calendar right now, May 12th and 13th. There are two big shows at Old Time Wrestling called Soul Survivor. It's a 2-night tournament, and I'm in the tournament.
Oh, yeah? And
I am going to win the tournament. I'm straight up telling you.
Yeah. Is this for the OTW Heavyweight Championship, or
this is for the winner will qualify for a championship match at a later date, or a contract for a championship match at a later date. So that's the immediate goal. Yeah. But I would be remiss if I didn't say, yeah, I've had some feelers with New Japan, and let's see where that goes. And I've been lucky enough to
NXT on your little run-in with Shinsuke and Samoa Joe. You stood out.
How was it?
You stood out. You stood out from all the other. You looked like you knew what you were doing. Plus, I'd been watching your matches, so just some of your facial expressions and stuff. You didn't look like. I could tell you were putting stuff into it, as opposed to the other guys that just kind of like stood around and kind of looked like they were just like there. I mean, the reason he didn't give you the power bomb through the table was one. I don't know if he could pick you up. You like towered over Shinsuke. But
he's a big guy. I'm sure he could have done it if he wanted to. Yeah. I have no doubt he could have done it if he wanted to. But thank you. You obviously did your homework, Justin. I'm impressed. Let's see what happens in the near future. I have been very fortunate that the people that I have been in contact with WWE have been very honest and forthcoming with me, and they've been very professional in terms of reaching out and keeping me apprised of what they look for in talent. And it's up to me to put the work in to make sure that I'm up to standard that they want. So, but with that said, I've had some conversations with New Japan, had some workouts with Evolve. I've been very lucky to take part of.
About Evolve in ROH as well.
Yeah, haven't had any interaction with Ring of Honor yet. That is something that maybe down the line we could take a look at. They're a great product. There's a incredible.
You're really good. You're really sound and crisp and everything. And I'm watching you. I'm just like, why isn't he down there already?
Well, thank you. That's very high praise. But so let me give you my mindset, because you're not the first person to ask me that question.
Okay.
I told you I've been doing this. It'll be 12 years in August. And I decided when I started this, the kind of mindset that most people bring to when they want to be successful in wrestling. It's like, okay, I got to get out there right away, get on the independents, get on as many shows as possible, get as much experience as possible, get my name out there, get people seeing me, knowing me, and then I'll get out there and I'll be successful. And to me, I went, all right, hold on, time out. I said, if somebody sees me when I'm a year in, and I'm competent, but I'm not great, right? And maybe I'm 6'1", I look okay in the ring. I'm, maybe 185 pounds, kind of in shape, kind of athletic.
Yeah.
They'll go, hey, that guy might be okay. And then they'll see me over and over and over. And no matter how good I get over the course of 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you never are able to make that first impression again.
That's the sign
you
of
only
a
get that
true intelligent person, because you just showed your intelligence right there by saying that. Because who did that? That's Bryan Danielson. He spent his time on the Indies, and he really honed his craft before he even looked at WWE. And I think that's honorable of you to look at it that way, because so many guys just want to be shoved in there, and then it's like we're seeing them grow as they come along. But you're right. There's if like you don't hit it out of the park or something, like a Brock Lesnar who just took to it so well, you could just be slated. You could be slated to he's just this guy. He can't be anything else.
And so my thought process is always, well, listen, let me find a couple of places where I can keep training and keep getting experience and keep improving and kick my butt in the gym. And then when I think, all right, things are coming together and I look like maybe I'm close to a finished product that might be of value, be able to bring value to somebody, let me go out there. Because then I want somebody to see me and go, whoa, who is that guy? Where did he come from? Yeah. He just came out of nowhere. Meanwhile, I've been at it for 11 years, quietly plugging away, ignoring the noise. So that was always my strategy. And now I'm kind of at the point where it's like, all right, it's time to make some noise. I'm ready. I'm confident. It's time to make some noise.
Cool. Let me see. Yeah, who would you say is your rival? Like, who would you say is like one of your best opponents?
Well, okay, so let me answer the first question. The first question, who's my rival? That's everybody, man. Everybody's my rival. There's thousands of guys trying to get that big time contract, and there's hundreds of guys who have that contract, and then there's fewer guys who have the championship opportunities on SmackDown and Raw, and like every single one of them is competition, man. And if you're not trying to compete with John Cena, even on a little level, right? If you're not mentally trying, that's not to say that I'm on the level of John Cena or
no, but you have to have that mentality, or you can't go out there.
If your goal is not to compete with the best in the world, you will not be successful, and that's just how I look at it. I have been fortunate to have some incredible matches with some very talented guys. I would be remiss if I didn't mention two in particular. I think you mentioned you'd seen me against Brian Johnson. I've known Brian for, I want to say 10 years now, 9 years now, and he is an incredibly hard worker. He does not stop. He's been fortunate enough to do some small dark matches with Ring of Honor, and he's really started to come into his own as a professional, and he's so impressive. And Adam Chandler is another guy who has really stepped his game up in the last 2-3 years, and Adam and I, in the past, when we've been in the ring together, have had, that great chemistry that you just, sometimes you just have great chemistry with somebody and it clicks. And the magic happens, and Adam and I have that. And that tournament I told you about at Old Time Wrestling on the 12th and 13th, Adam and I are actually at opposite sides of the bracket. And so when I look at that tournament, I go, okay, I see him. That's my competition. That's the guy that I could meet in the finals, because I know I'll be there. And he's a big, strong guy. He's probably 240 pounds, all jacked up. So I'm gonna have my work cut out for me. Um, but and there's endless list of guys that I would love to get in the ring with. And it's just a matter of right place, right time.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Cool, cool. What are some of your favorite matches?
That I've had, or that I've seen.
That you've seen and that you've had. Let's make it a little
Okay, so if I'm going my favorite matches, I'll go a little some of the ones on the side that I like, and try to stay away from the obvious ones because everybody's gonna love Steve Austin versus The Rock, and everybody loves.
Yeah.
You know,
Give me something that I wouldn't think that you would like.
Yeah. So there's a great. This is the '93 King of the Ring. It's Bret Hart and Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, and there's a great little match they have.
Yeah.
I actually like it more than some of their earlier matches that everybody.
Match.
Yeah, a lot of those matches get all the hype and the acclaim, but I love their little. I think it's in Ohio too, at King of the Ring '93, and they just have a great little match. They have Bret's fingers are broken, and Hennig is slowly getting angry and irritated throughout the match, and he slowly starts to get a little mean and nasty, and they just do a great job telling a story, and it's one of my
logic. That's Bret and Kurt. They
they're great.
The logic
they're great.
in there, and that's what I liked about watching your matches. Is I saw a lot of they were logical. You weren't just doing moves for the sake of doing moves. The moves all meant something, and I liked how you worked the body part. When you kept working it, and you didn't just forget about it. It was always go right back down to it. And I liked that.
Thank you. It's hard, and it takes a lot of time. I'm a big tape guy. I watch a lot of old stuff. I watch a lot of old Randy Savage stuff. There's a Randy Savage Bret Hart match where Savage's leg gets busted up, and he wrestles half the match or a quarter of the match with his boot off.
Is this the Saturday night's main event one?
I think it's a Saturday night's main event, or it's a house show, or one of those old school shows, and it's fantastic. Anvil's at ringside, freaking out the whole time.
Yeah.
It's Savage was fantastic, and then I could go on. The $1 Million Man was just incredible. I mean, he's the SummerSlam matches, the stuff with Andre and Hogan, are just all time great. And if I'm going contemporary stuff, man, Brock is so good. He's so good.
The Punk and Brock match, that was an amazing match.
Yeah, well, when you put two talented guys in there and they have a little bit of chemistry, it works. I really love when Brock first comes back, he has a great match with Cena.
The bloodbath one, yeah.
So there's a visual where John finally makes his comeback, and he's got this chain around his thing, and the blood's come down, and he gets angry, and he starts screaming at the camera, and I go, wow, these guys are just complete pros.
And the crowd, completely shut up, because usually they'd be, booing Cena because they were in Chicago, but after he got busted open and was bleeding so bad, and that's a testament
to how talented those two guys are. And it's just in my non-expert opinion, it's a masterclass in how to put on an excellent entertaining show. So,
Brock's
so those
agile are in it there too. You can see him he just hops right over the ropes.
It's the guy's a once in a generation kind of athlete. We talk about once in a generation kind of guys in other sports. You have Brady, or you have Michael Jordan, or you have these, the guys that come along once in every 50 years. To me, Brock's like that, man. The presence, the size, the speed, he's just incredible. And this is not a 5'10", 190-pound guy.
Well, you could see him in UFC. He was fast there too. That was one of the big comments they'd say. Is just how fast he is for being that big. And
and he knows when to flip the switch and be fast, and when to be big, and
and he knows how to sell too. It's not like he's just he just takes power moves. His stuff with Goldberg, he would sell the spear and everything. was was great. He just would sell the ribs and everything. You feel his pain. It's great.
I just think these guys are so talented, and to me it's unfortunate that a lot of times they don't get the from a lot of, and I don't want to say this from everyone's perspective, but there's a sizable faction of people who don't give them the credit that I think that they deserve. And you know what? I don't know, Brock. He's probably saying, you know what? As long as they're buying the show, I don't care what they think.
He strikes me as a guy that just doesn't really care.
More power to him.
He doesn't care about the matches or anything. It's just about, how much am I getting paid?
Hey, you know what?
But he's good at what he does, and that's all you can ask.
That's the way the world works, man. If you're good at your job, you're gonna make money doing it. So that's whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or a wrestler.
Yeah. What is probably the best advice you've received, like on the road or anything? I'm curious.
There's a lot of it. The standard good advice is mouth closed, ears open, eyes open, right? That's the standard.
Yeah.
Standard. And if the best advice I ever got was someone telling me, and I don't want to say who it was, but they said, listen, go and watch wrestling. Don't watch wrestling, but watch wrestling. And watch their feet, and watch their bodies, and don't watch the entertainment. Watch how each movement is reacted to, and each movement is prefaced by something, and how these guys, there is no wasted motion on some of the guys that you should be watching. And that's for me, it clicks when you feel it. If you watch enough of something, that osmosis kind of absorbs in you, and you'll be in the ring and you'll see an opening for something, and you won't even realize where you saw it or how you picked it up. Yeah. But you'll go, oh, hey, I should do this here. And it all clicks. So it's just to study the tape. I think that's super underrated. Yeah. Everybody kind of takes it for granted. Like, yeah, I watch tape. Yeah, we all watch tape. But do you really watch the tape? Like, do you slow it down? Do you go back? Do you watch it in slow motion? Do you rewind and forward and back and forth and see exactly what happened? Whose shoulder was where? How did they position themselves? Like, it's a crazy art form, man. It's really incredible. When it's done right, there's nothing better than professional wrestling.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great moment to end on. Do you want to plug anything?
Yes. So a couple shows coming up at the beginning of May. Like I said, Old Time Wrestling. If people are interested, they can go to oldtimewrestling.net. Those shows are on May 12th and 13th. It's a Friday night and a Saturday night. It's the biggest show of the year. The place gets packed, and it has a very indie underground fight feel. And it's not overly produced in the way a lot of other places are. So if you're into wrestling, you will love it. And if you're into it, I would encourage people to follow me on Twitter. They can get more information about where those shows are, how to get tickets. It's at Mik Drake, MikDrake. Real easy. And I encourage people to follow me and keep your eyes open. You never know where you're going to see me. I would venture to guess I'm going to pop up sooner than you think somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys can follow us at Pulp Report on Facebook. And Mik, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Justin. I appreciate it.
All right. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.